Number 3, culture of lying gate. We've gotten so used to this that even candidates for national office can utterly contradict themselves in their first 2 national interviews, and nobody's saying boo. Remember Governor Palin last week when Charlie Gibson asked her if she hesitated at all in accepting the VP nomination? She said, "I didn't hesitate, no." He pressed her. That's when she said her spiel about the mission and you can't blink, so I didn't blink. Then even when I was asked to run it as his running mate. Tonight, in a kind of conversation, a critic of a fawning local sportscaster once perfectly described as a flatulent, lap-sitting interview, Governor Palin insists to Sean Hannity that she did not immediately accept the spot on the ticket, that she hesitated and put it to a family vote. The quote, "It was time of asking the girls to vote on it anyway, and they voted unanimously yes. Didn't bother asking my son because, you know, he's going off to be doing his thing anyway, so he wouldn't be so impacted by at least the campaign period here. So asked the girls what they thought, and they're like, absolutely, let's do this, Mom." For God's sake, Governor, you're coming across as an out-of-control liar. Well, at least that's another $100 I get to donate to the Alaska Special Olympics. Number 2, Katrina Redux Gate from Carville, Louisiana. South of Baton Rouge comes the story of Ray Cronin, a truck driver from Tampa. He was sent to Richmond, Virginia by FEMA to pick up supplies to aid victims of Hurricane Ike. He and 500 other trucks, fully loaded, arrived in Carville, Louisiana at midnight on Monday, which is where they sit still. No bathrooms or running water, no food. The drivers are eating Army rations. FEMA is paying them $800 a day each. That's our money. And the only sign of FEMA at Carville, Louisiana is a trailer next to all the trucks, which has a sign on it reading, "No truck drivers come near trailer." Heck of a job, Bushy. And number 1, Anthrax Gate. The same day that Senator Patrick Leahy, one of the targets of the 2001 attacks, said he is convinced the late Dr. Bruce Ivins did not act alone and the case is not really closed, the government scientist who just happened to get the most crucial detail of the case wrong back in 2001, he now says, addressed that. Peter Jarling had examined the anthrax spores using an electron microscope, concluded that silicon had been added to the stuff to make it easier for the anthrax to be taken in by the lungs, making it more deadly. Only 3 countries were supposedly able to add silicon to anthrax: the U.S., Russia, and, bingo, Iraq. The White House and Senator McCain turned around and took the added silicon idea and turned that into Iraq done it. The problem is nobody thinks Dr. Ivins had the wherewithal to add the silicon himself, making him an unlikely suspect or at least an unlikely sole perpetrator. So now this Dr. Jarling says his conclusions in 2001 about the added silicon were wrong and the silicon had occurred naturally. He says now he made an honest mistake. In retrospect, I believe I was mistaken and I defer to the experts. Hey, Doc, how do we know you weren't an expert then and not now? How do we know you weren't deferring to somebody then and not now? Because it sure sounds like the silicon story was of great use to Mr. Bush and Senator McCain in trying to smear Iraq in 2001, but now that same story might ruin the Ivins did it, he's dead, case closed line. Dr. Jarling, it does sound like, oh, you know, you're not being forthright about something.